Thank you, Eva. Wait, it's green. You have to wait for it's green before you can go. Our scripture passage from the Gospels today is from Luke's Gospel, chapter 14, verse 1 and 7 to 14. On one occasion, when Jesus was going to the house of a leader of the Pharisees to eat a meal on the Sabbath, they were watching him closely. When he noticed how the guests chose the places of honor, he told them a parable. When you are invited by someone to a wedding banquet, do not sit down at the place of honor in case someone more distinguished than you has been invited by your host. And the host who invited both of you may come and say to you, give this person your place. And then in disgrace you would start to take the lowest place. But when you are invited, go and sit down at the lowest place, so that when your host comes, he may say to you, friend, move up higher. Then you will be honored in the presence of all who sit at the table with you. For all who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. He said also to the one who had invited him, when you give a luncheon or a dinner, do not invite your friends or your brothers or your relatives or rich neighbors, in case they may invite you in return, and you would be repaid. But when you give a banquet, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, and the blind, and you will be blessed, because they cannot repay you, for you will be repaid at the resurrection of the righteous. I remember as a child, and we'd gather in a home, and we'd have a lot of relatives over for Thanksgiving. And the table was just only so big, even with the extensions. And so out came the card table. And guess who sat at the card table? How many of you sat at the children's table? Now, I always longed to get up to that main table. I really did. I said, I can't wait to be up there. Until I got up there. I said, what's the big deal? They're talking stuff I'm not interested in. I'll go back to the kids' table. I think Jesus just invites table after table after table with people and just a place to sit. This is a troublesome passage because it says that it kind of presumes that we all want the place of honor. But I also think that it's saying we need to be humble. We need to carry ourselves with openness, vulnerability, and just connect with people. So I'd like to invite you into a journey and this is going to be not my message sending it out to you from God, hopefully, but it's going to be a message within you, to you, within the essence of who you are. So it's going to be your work and your message today. So I'm going to give a little. How many most of us are familiar with the Currier and Ives lithographs of kind of set of wonderful village settings with you get some kids playing over here and some person over here working and the dynamics are there, but it's a painting on a wall. So, and I would like you to imagine, this is going to take a little stretch for three of you. I don't know the three, but there's always three. To just move into an imaginary world a little bit. It's not going to be too much of a stretch. So if you walked into that painting, that Currier and Ives painting, painted in 1873, all of a sudden, when you get inside that painting, things start to move. It becomes three-dimensional. And you're seeing the children, and you're seeing, the blacksmith and whatever, cruising around, and you're able to interact with it, okay? So now, with that in mind, I'd like to invite you into a different setting, one that may become a little more familiar with, that you are more familiar with than the Currier and Ives setting that we see on the walls. And this setting is not 1873 in some little New England town. This setting is 2019. And this setting isn't the little village, but it's the biggest city in the state of Vermont. Burlington. And it's a setting that you probably are very familiar with. It's Church Street Marketplace. Okay? And what I'm going to ask you to do is just imagine a painting of this setting, and I'm going to invite you into that setting and start moving through it. But as you move through it, I'm going to invite you to just sense, if you can, anyone that may have a halo. You say, well, I don't know what he said, but by golly, he had a halo. So, a halo, and an aura around them of shimmering light. Okay? So that's just, and those are the special children of God. People blessed by God. They're special, they're children, not children physically, but children of God. Okay? You with me? So if you want to close your eyes and picture yourself walking, you can be walking up or down, and just settle into the setting and just sense what kind of day it is. What's the weather like? Is it busy? Are the stores open? As you walk your trek through the marketplace, what do you hear? What do you smell? Do you taste anything? Are there other people around? What are they doing? Are you walking in the middle of the street, or one side or the other? What do you notice? Do you stop and talk to anyone? Do you have an idea of where you're headed? Do you have a destination in mind? Now, as you reach the end of the street, and you turn around, and you look back, what do you see? Does it look the same as when you started your trek? Are you the same as you were when you started the trek? Now I invite you to kind of transport yourselves maybe a block away, maybe into a sanctuary, maybe into here, and open your eyes if you wish. And then I'd like to invite you to share. If there was anything that you noticed in your trek. I'm guessing most of us have made that trek more than once. Is this any different than the trek you've made in the past? Any thoughts?
It's more intentional.
More intentional?
Mm-hmm.
You were seeing things more than just moving?
Well, I was self-selecting what I was seeing,
Oh, yeah.
but it was much more intentional.
More intentional about what you were seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Everybody had a halo.
Everybody had a halo?
And everybody.
Really? How about an aura?
I know Aurora too.
You an aura too?
Everybody had that.
Everybody had it.
Everybody had
Oh.
that.
What were some of the characters you saw on your trek? Anyone have particular people?
I noticed the people that are sitting, waiting for someone to maybe give help.
Oh, sitting and kind of needing help,
Yeah.
asking for some help,
Mm-hmm.
some assistance.
Yes.
Yeah. Do they have like a bowl or
A
something?
sign or,
A sign or something?
yeah.
Yeah.
Asking. And I usually try to give something because I think Jesus said, don't ask why,
Mm-hmm.
just give.
Yep.
But that worries me too,
That worries you.
about, okay, I am giving, but what are they going to use it for?
Mm-hmm.
Will it be helpful or will it hurt them?
Will it be helpful or will it hurt them? Yeah. But it gives them the choice, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I transported my brother from Spokane, Washington, with his children
Oh.
so that we can be together.
Oh, wow. So you brought your brother and his children, family, to the Church Street Marketplace so you could be with them. Now that's a productive trek. Hey, connections. Yes.
I see a gentleman that I'm in town a lot. I see him in a needy way, on and on and on,
Mhm.
same spot.
Same spot, the same gentleman, needy way.
Yeah, we were just smile at him every time.
Yeah.
He looks okay.
He looks okay.
Yeah.
You smile at him.
We just nod at each other.
Yeah. It's okay. You were aware of him, and he was aware that you were aware of him.
Yeah.
And then you acknowledged that he was there.
Because I've been here a lot.
Yeah? Yeah?
Almost a son friend or something.
Yeah? Yeah? Great. Any other thoughts, anything you'd like to share in their trek? It's your trek. It's your journey. Yes, Ava.
When you talked about the weather, I was thinking about how much easier it is to share warmth with people in the summer. When you're feeling warm and you're not feeling rushed to get into a store. But in the winter when it's cold and it's gray and it's snowing, it's harder to take the time to stop and notice each other.
Yeah.
But I also think that we need it more. You know, we need the warmth from each other in that
Yeah.
season.
So Ava is saying, I'm sorry, just repeat this a little bit, but that it's easier to connect with people, at least to show connections in the summer when we have time and it's not quite as urgent to get inside where it's warm. But maybe in the winter we need to extend that more intentionally because it may be where we need it more. Is that good? Thank you. I I have done this a number of times because I've had to practice it. Prepare, you know. And I want to be honest with you that I had a hard time finding anyone with an aura. I guess I wasn't even thinking about it. And I was just cruising down. I was in the middle of the street. Now, a question. Did you have an aura? Did you have a halo? Were you seeing through light? I think that may let us know where we are and maybe give us some hints as to the connections we have with other people. Because in New England, it's real easy not to connect. Because there's an assumption that no one wants to connect. It's kind of built into the water system. You know? We're independent. We're individuals. Don't mess. Don't just go on our way. You know, and sometimes the bigger towns you're in, the bigger cities you're in, the less connection there is. Because you don't feel responsible for it. I noticed when I was living in Shoreham, I'd wave at both cars I passed. You know? I didn't know them. And I wasn't tired either, just two cars. And smile. But I find I'm not doing quite as much of that when you've got 1,000 cars you're passing. You know? But I'm wondering if that may be some opening. So, okay, how can I share that light, that aura, that halo that I may be blessed with, and everyone is blessed with, to realize that we're actually more connected with those auras than we are with any stratification of society. You know, however we want to divide society up, that those auras mean we're all there. We're all loved by God. We're all children of God. And as we extend that life in. So now how do we do it? Susan, you were talking about, giving some money, whether you give money or not. One occurred to me at the 8 o'clock service, so now you get a little practice it there. What would it be if, how many people are asking for money on Church Street? 10 maybe? Simple? 5 to 10? What would it be if you started at one end of Church Street with 5 $1 bills or 10 gifts, and just say, okay, my goal is to look at people because and look them in the eye. Say, God bless you, something. And just don't spend a lot of time there because it gets weird. But you don't have to spend it, but don't just go, connect. Share that aura that you have, and they're giving you their aura as well. They're sharing that energy and spirit. I want to share with you a story. Is Amara here?
No, she's...
Can she hear? Okay. Amara and I have a little challenge. I drink Starbucks coffee. I'm not sure if it's fair trade or not. But I go to Starbucks. I go to Starbucks a lot. And the good thing, I want just to clear my conscience just a little bit, is I talked to some of the people that were working behind the counter. And I said, it's the same people, so there must be some stability there in their employment. I said, it's really very good. They've got benefits and all kinds of things. I said, that's good. So now I can justify it a little bit. So, I was in Starbucks this past week, and I had my 2 ventis. How many people know what a venti is? All right, there's 7 of you. I figured it's a large one. I don't know if they could ever. What? Awesome. Venti. Then they have grande and tall. Those are the 3 sizes. And if you didn't know the language, you wouldn't guess which one was the biggest one. Venti is the big one. Rondé is a middle one. So, anyway, I have these two venties because I'm married and I want to keep my marriage strong. And so you don't go with just one venti back home. You go with both. And so and I just doctor them up with little stuff. And then I'm walking towards the door and this young man comes up. He's not like 30-something. Oh, he's young. And he opened the door for me, which, you see somebody with two venties, you're going to open the door. You just do that automatically. I mean, it's just a natural thing. So he had nothing, his facial expression wasn't anything like negative or positive. It was just kind of like, I'm doing my thing, I'm going in, get a cup of coffee. So he opens the door. I walk through the door part way, weightlifting. And I said, thank you for making my day special. I so appreciate it. And he just beamed. But it was intentional, face-to-face, eye-to-eye. And I said, thank you for making my day special. And you know something? Again, watch out for weirdness. Don't spend too much time in the eyeball. It gets really weird really fast. So don't do it. And so then I was going my way. Now what happened in that little transaction? I appreciated what he did. And he appreciated my appreciation. And I appreciated his appreciation from my appreciation. You talk about a Thanksgiving prayer that just keeps bouncing back and forth. That was it. I don't know what was going through this young man's mind. I don't know where he was headed. I don't know what, and I didn't have to know. I didn't know the details of what his birthday was or anything. But I could make that connection. I don't know his name. He doesn't know mine. I'll never see him again. Probably it doesn't matter. But that connection was simple. It was intentional, and it was eye to eye. It was face to face. And that, I think, is how we can extend the table of Christ. Not waiting for a big Thanksgiving feast, because that feast is every day, every moment of every day. When we connect with people, we're extending that Thanksgiving feast of life out into the world. How we do it, that's up to you. And how this church does it, that is unfolding too as we do so. And so I invite you to just realize that you are on a trek, that your life is a journey, and that you are blessed with the unfolding pictures that are ahead of you as you move into life, extending Christ's love, the aura and halo of life that you carry into the world, because there's a whole lot of halos and auras around. In fact, I think there's a few billion of them. Amen.